Hello, Heath Clevenger here with Team Clevenger. We're going to go over and install a new barrel into your upper receiver. Some of the parts you'll need are obviously your upper receiver, barrel nut, new Criterion barrel, gas tube, gas block, adjustable preferably, muzzle brake, and free float handrail. So you're going to need a block to put your upper receiver in, to place it in the vise. Like so. Place it down in the vise. Tighten it up. The brace that goes inside here, I don't like to slide it all the way in there because it interferes on the installation of the gas tube when we get to that point. Alright, so now you want to lube up inside the upper receiver extension where the barrel goes. You want to be sure that's oiled up really good, and you want to be sure that there's oil on the barrel, because you don't want this to seize up, because you may want to change this barrel in the future, and it makes it a lot easier to get the barrel back out of the receiver. So then we're going to install the barrel into the upper receiver. It's going to slide in to a point, start getting tight, and then slide all the way in there. Alright, so now I'm going to install some anti-seize inside the barrel nut. Usually they say put grease in there, but I like anti-seize because I know it can hold up to the heat, because there's a lot of heat that ends up going on right there in that particular part of the gun. And you just start out by hand tightening it on there. Alright. And then now we're going to move on to torquing. Sometimes what you can do is take the wrench or the extension off of here. Makes it easier. Slide on there. You see how that just did that? If you notice, the top one and the very bottom one that's out of sight is lined up, but the one in the middle is not caught on a tooth on the barrel nut. That's a good way to break teeth off the barrel nut. There we go. Alright, so once we have that on there, then we can put the torque wrench. I like to start at about 60 pounds. I know generally the Colt says 45, but I like to go to 60 pounds. Alright, and then once we tighten it down, now we're going to loosen it back up, because this helps set the barrel back into the receiver. Notice how it goes a little further each time when you're tightening it down. Alright, now I've adjusted the torque wrench up to about 70 foot-pounds, because I'm going to tighten it down and line up the gas block for the gas tube. And it's very important that this is lined up properly, because if any part of the barrel nut influences the gas tube and pushes it from the side to side, it will cause premature wear to the end of the gas tube and will cause some gas loss in the gas key of the bolt carrier group, which will shorten the lifespan of your gas tube, cause problems with your rifle running. So we're going, looks like that's coming in to getting close, so we'll go ahead and start putting that gas tube in there to give us some direction on how far is far enough. right. It looks like it's lined up just perfect. We didn't hit the full 70 pounds of torque, but I felt the torque wrench get really tight, and I don't want to, if we over tighten it, then we're not going to get what we want with lining the gas tube up, so we're going to stop right there. All right, so we've loosened the screws on this Cyrac adjustable gas block. Now I'm getting ready to put some blue Loctite on the, I like to put it on the inside. That's where the threads are going to end up making contact with the screw and the gas block itself. After I put that on there, now we're going to slide this on to the gas, or to the barrel, excuse me. After we get that in place, and we're going to tighten it up. And there's a small divot pre-drilled by Criterion into the barrel to be sure that you get your gas block aligned perfectly with the gas port in the top of the barrel. So that's one less thing you have to worry about. So we're just going to tighten that down good. Don't want that coming loose. And there you go, the gas block is installed onto the barrel. Alright, now we're installing the gas tube into the gas block. If you'll notice, we'll spin this gas tube a little bit. The bottom of that gas tube there, that's the hole where the gas travels from the gas block through the gas tube back to the bolt carrier group. So you want to be sure that is turned down. If you notice right here, this hole is for your roll pin to be installed, and that hole has to line up with this hole in the gas block. So we're going to pull this end to the gas block and line that up. Alright, so you don't have to have a roll pin punch, but it helps a lot, especially in this instance. We got the roll pin and the roll pin punch. We're going to come down here and get it started in the gas block. Remember, these are small parts, they don't need a lot of force. Next, I'm going to move into a bigger punch, and notice I have tape on the end of the punch, and that's just to keep from marring it up. You want to keep your product looking good, so you don't want to beat it up. So it doesn't really affect the working parts. If it gets scarred up a little bit, I just like for it to look a little better, so I try to take that extra step. All right. And now our gas block and gas tube all is properly assembled. All right, so now we're going to install our Troy free float handrail back onto the upper receiver. I have to get this lined up just right on the barrel nut. Now we're going to line up the rail with the upper receiver. You can do it by feel or by sight, or what you can also do is, I'm going to set this down and step away for just a second, is grab something to line it up for you. Like the scope mount. So you know the scope mount is lined up, or if you got an old A2 handguard laying around that you're not using, then you can use that. Alright, so we use the scope mount to line up the upper receiver with the rail on the free float foregrip. And then now we will tighten up the Troy fore rail onto the barrel nut. And this is especially important if you're running iron sights on your rifle. All right, so we're all tightened down. So now we're going to take this scope mount off, which is in the wrong position, and we'll install our muzzle brake or comp. All right, so we put a little bit of Loctite on there. We're going to go ahead and put this lock nut that is used with the Miklik comp that we're currently using. So we're going to back that all the way up, and we'll put just a tad more. Notice this is blue Loctite, not the red Loctite. Just help hold this in place. I know the barrel gets hot, I know it, but it just helps lock that comp down into place. Keep these things from loosening up. So we get that installed. I like to run them pretty much straight up. I know Jerry recommends a little bit of cant and push the gun back down into your left hand when you're right-handed. But I don't know, just lock them up and straight up and down. So we're going to lock that lock nut down on the comp and double check that it is straight up and down. And this upper receiver build, new barrel installation is complete.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our video on how to install a Criterion barrel into your upper receiver. If you have any more suggestions on videos you'd like to see, just leave a suggestion in the comments. Also check us out on our Facebook page at facebook.com/teamclevengershooting. Thanks.